Hi again. Welcome. All right, today we have a question from Courtney from Minnesota and Kathleen from Pennsylvania. They both wanted to know, they said, I am curious about pregnancy with women who have shunts. Should they always be advised to have a C-section? Well, the same question went through our heads. Stephanie tried to get pregnant for 3 years, and during that time frame, we actually interviewed and talked to obstetrician, gynecologists, and neurosurgeons, and consulted with many of them. So first of all, this is really truly a medical question, so you must consult with an OB, GYN, and your neurosurgeon on this, okay? Second of all, as a mom, I can tell you what we went through from our perspective. We did interview different doctors because working for a neurosurgeon for 20 years, I have all these things going through my head, so I'm going one way and the other and thinking bad thoughts and worrying things I shouldn't be worried about. But I felt a lot more comfortable after we checked with the neurosurgeons, because the majority of the neurosurgeons we consulted said, why are you worried about having a C-section? She should be able to have a normal delivery. So don't focus on having a C-section. And that's what we were told. Now, your doctors may say something totally different. So you have to do what's best for you and your doctors. It's a decision between you and your physicians, first of all. But generally, I didn't want my daughter to have a C-section because, first of all, anytime you have any type of surgery and you have an incision, you're opening your body up to infection. And I didn't want any openings in her stomach if possible, because Stephanie has a ventriculoperitoneal shunt, which is a VP shunt, which ends in her peritoneum or stomach area. So I didn't want a chance on cutting the shunt, possibly, introducing any infection or bacteria into the shunt via a C-section if we didn't have to. So we chose to go with, luckily her OB and the neurosurgeons all consulted and decided that she should have a normal labor and delivery. So the actual story of what happened is quite funny, what happened with Stephanie. She went a week overdue and was at our house, and our dogs were running around, and she was ready to pop. And we were chasing our dogs, and she went home, and about 3 hours later her water broke. So she called me, and we went to the hospital, and she began labor. And she started heavy labor and had heavy labor for about 4 hours. Then she did have an epidural, and that calmed her down. At that point I left, and she and I will certainly disagree on things that were said during her heavy labor period and things that were said after she had the epidural, which was a quite different daughter. In fact, there are times probably an epidural would have been nice when I was raising her. However, anyway, that's just me talking. But when I came back, Steffi called me back, and I was invited to be in the delivery room, which was quite an honor, because for my son-in-law to allow me to be comfortable enough with me to be in the delivery room with my daughter, because I am a hands-on mom. And I tried my best to stay in the background. So the whole time Steffi was in active labor stage, my son-in-law is watching the birth through the birth canal and watching the baby coming out. And I'm glancing there, but I'm glancing at my baby, my 31-year-old who's delivering a baby. And looking at her and seeing her push so hard during labor. And I'm thinking the whole time, please shunt, don't clog up. Please shunt, don't clog up. And so I'm focusing on my baby, who's delivering a baby, and her husband's focusing on their baby that she's having. So it probably was good I was there, because I was like focusing on Stephanie. Every time her face got red and she pushed hard, I was thinking, oh my gosh, is that going to be too much pressure on her shunt? This is hard. This is hard for somebody who doesn't have a shunt. And as a mom, I was worried about my baby. But everything went fine. Stephanie actually delivered in about 40 minutes total. The baby was fine and healthy. had to be taken to the NICU for some little things, but nothing with hydrocephalus or anything like that. And Stephanie was completely fine after the birth and had delivered my baby granddaughter Ellie, Kathleen, named after her Aunt Sarah. And it was a happy, wonderful time. Just for your information though, my daughter Sarah has a VA shunt, which is a ventricular atrial shunt. And that shunt goes to your heart. Okay, so again, check with your doctors on all this, because you really need to step by step make sure that your OB and your GYN are totally in touch with your neurosurgeon so that they feel comfortable delivering someone with hydrocephalus, because they do have some additional worries. They worry themselves, what if they go into shunt failure during labor and delivery, which could happen, and we were worried. And we had made plans for that. We had made sure we were at a major medical center where neurosurgery is available. We knew that my daughter could be transferred to where her neurosurgeon is if necessary. So I think you make the best plans you can. What will happen will happen. All you can do is consult with your surgeons, make sure everybody's in good communication, and then make the best plans possible, and then just take how it comes. You just do what you got to do, and usually things will work out well. Now, HA has some fabulous resources. One is a maternal database by Nancy Bradley that we will have links that you can go to. We have excellent articles on hydrocephalus and pregnancy that you will have links to. So I would encourage you to, at the end of this blog, maybe go check some of those out. And if you have any further questions, you can always contact our organization or your best resource, your physicians. Thank you.